So, life is so miraculous. I continue, I guess the older I get, the more I am amazed by just how miraculous nature is. And to think about how it began billions of years ago as just single cells, and how they evolved into human brains and opposable thumbs, or Justin was talking about octopus brains that stretch into their tentacles. They actually have neurons in their tentacles. One of the most miraculous things to me is how the spirit of life guides each unique creature to what they need for health and well-being through inner longings, this phenomenon of longings, the longing to eat or the longing to sleep. Think about the complexity of that inner kind of guidance system. And most amazing of all are the higher longings that transcend the individual self. We have an ancient dream programmed into our souls, maybe even into our cells, for the realm of God, for the realm of God's love and peace on earth. We long for that. And that longing in the heart of our species is now the greatest hope for the survival of all species. The creator of life is trying to guide and empower us to save its creation by helping us evolve into the kind of people that Jesus called us and taught us to be. And it's all from our longings. I first heard Carole King sing Way Over Yonder when I was a teenager, longing for peace in the midst of a wilderness of adolescent angst. The words, "Then trouble's gonna lose me, worry leave me behind." It captured my yearning for the world to be the promised land in the Garden of Eden, the land where the honey runs in rivers each day, a garden of wisdom from some long ago dream. Way Over Yonder was a hymn to me, and I believe it is a hymn, inspiring me to keep working toward the vision of a better world and a better way to be in the world. So today in this service, I hope that you will allow yourself to feel your longings, your longing for an ideal church or town or nation or world. I hope that you will allow yourself to share your dream in the faith that it is the Spirit of God speaking through your longing to a world that needs to hear it. So let us worship together with thanks and praise.
Way over yonder is a place that I know, where I can find shelter from hunger and cold, and the sweet tasting good life is so easily found. Way over yonder, that's where I'm bound. I know when I get there, the first thing I'll see is the sun shining golden, shining right down on me. Then trouble's gonna lose me, worry leave to the land where the honey runs in rivers each day, and the sweet tasting good life is so easily found way over yonder. That's where I'm bound.
So if you don't have a bulletin, that was Becky Bailey singing and Anamika playing the piano. And we have the young at heart in the sanctuary, but no children. But I'm going to give you the children's time anyway, so I hope you're feeling very young at heart. So what I was going to talk to them about was the promised land, and why it was promised. The promised land was promised when Abraham longed to find a homeland, and he had a vision of God when he got to Palestine, saying, "This is the land that you have been searching for, and I will give it to your descendants, to you and your descendants forever." And Abraham felt in his heart that this vision was true. It was a sacred promise. And it was because he felt it was that it was a promise. In a way, this happens to us all. The Spirit puts in us a sense of where we feel at home and what we feel called to do with our lives. Every living thing has a promised land, a place that the Spirit of the universe has created as their natural habitat, the place where they can fulfill the life and the longings that they have been given. Those first living cells had an ocean with just the right temperature, the right acidity and salinity, and they had a dream programmed into that one cell to increase and to evolve into greater life. Miraculous. If you look around at Earth's plants, animals, insects, you find they each have a similar promised land. And we have one too. Everyone has one. Yours may be in the mountains or in the city. It may be as a teacher, a builder, a musician, a parent. We each have our dream or dreams. But how do we know? How do we know, like Abraham, that the vision we have is promised, that it's our promised land? How do we know it's our true place, our true calling? Well, people have asked that question for thousands of years. How do we know? And tradition says, our spiritual tradition says, there are three ways to test a vision. First is to look to spiritual wisdom that's been collected over the ages, like in the scriptures or spiritual writings, and see what it tells you about your vision. And if it rings true, then that's a good indication that it is your promised land. The second thing is to talk with wise people about it, to seek spiritual direction, like the people of this church. So talk. And then the third way to learn if your vision is right in the tradition, and I wonder if you could guess, pray! Prayer, especially a listening prayer, like the examine that I talked about last week, where you listen to your life. The key is to quiet your mind and allow the deepest spirit within your heart to speak to you. A familiar prayer of few words that you say over and over helps you listen more deeply because you don't have to think as much about it. It's like a familiar prayer, or even just one word, can be like a raft that you kind of ride down river to your deepest soul. So let's pray that way now with words, but also listening for the Spirit beneath and in between the words. Every week we're alternating which Lord's Prayer we read. So this week we're reading the New Version, which is on the pew card. The Lord's Prayer New Version, and Justin is screen sharing it. So let us pray together. Creator, Redeemer, Sustainer, way, truth, and life, force of love and light flowing within and all around us, may your realm of compassion, justice, and peace rule our world. Thank you for nurturing and guiding us, for giving us and helping us forgive, and leading us away from harmful desires. Please save us from all forms of evil, for you are our source, our home, our power, all goodness and beauty forever. Amen.
The first reading is from Psalm 84. How lovely is your dwelling place, O God, my hope and strength. My soul longs, indeed it faints for your courts. My heart and my flesh sing for joy to the living God. Even the sparrow finds a home, and the swallow a nest for herself, where she may lay her young at your altars. Happy are those who live in your house, ever singing your praise. Happy are those whose strength is in you, in whose heart are the highways to Zion. As they go through the desolate valley, they make it a place of springs. They go from strength to strength. For a day in your courts is better than 1,000 elsewhere. I would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of God than live in the tents of wickedness. O God of hope and strength, happy is everyone who trusts in you and dwells in your love. And the next one is from Isaiah chapter 11, verses 1 through 9. A shoot shall come out from the stump of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. The Spirit of God shall rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge. He shall not judge by what his eyes see, or decide by what his ears hear, but with righteousness he shall judge the poor, and decide with equity for the meek of the earth. Righteousness shall be the belt around his waist, and faithfulness the belt around his loins. The wolf shall live with the lamb, the leopard shall lie down with the kid, the calf and the lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. They will not hurt or destroy on all my holy mountain, for the earth will be full of the knowledge of God, as the waters cover the sea. And the last reading is from Matthew chapter 5, verses 3 through 9. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Here ends the reading.
So last week I talked about the 3 stages of transition that we go through to adjust to any change. The 3 stages that are based on the metaphor of the Exodus. Transitions begin with an ending. First, we leave the old ways of Egypt with joy or grief or a mix of both. Second, we enter an in-between time, wandering in a trackless wilderness where we have left the old settled place, but are not yet in the new. The wilderness can be uncomfortable, chaotic, confusing, and yet it also can be creative and transformative, as it was for the children of Israel. it prepares us for what is coming next. Third, transitions end with a beginning. The children of Israel cross the River Jordan into the Promised Land. We enter the new place, or the new ways of being that we have longed to reach. Last week, I talked about the role of remembrance and rest in getting through the wilderness. Today, we're focusing on another practice. Leo Tolstoy put it this way: one needs a vision of the promised land in order to have the strength to move. Moses shared the vision of that land flowing with milk and honey whenever the Israelites felt discouraged. He helped them picture it and long for it and keep moving toward it. Where there is no vision, the people perish, the book of Proverbs says. There are different ways in which vision can save us. We need a vision to remind us of our goals, but we also need a vision as a place to go in our minds when our wilderness reality is painful. Acting as if we are already there can help us survive. A little girl sat at midnight in the bar where her mother worked. Her mother had come that night not to serve, but to drink. And she and her friends were already fall down drunk when they arrived. One of the friends had to be taken out in an ambulance after falling and hitting his head. Then her mother's boyfriend started shouting and threatening to punch her. The little girl heard it and saw it all. A kind waitress was sitting with a little girl in a booth trying to shelter her from what was going on. But she needn't have worried. The little girl was calmly drawing with crayons. And the waitress asked, "What are you drawing?" And she answered, "A family. The girl is holding hands with her mommy and daddy, and here are her dog and cat and her horse, and this is her farmhouse, and this is the garden where she grows flowers, and this is a birdhouse where the little birdies can be safe, and this is the mountain where the girl has picnics, where it is quiet and there are cute rabbits and foxes and deer that snuggle with her." It is heartbreaking when people live in a wilderness of abuse. And yet the Spirit of life that created us has given us the ability to dream of a place way over yonder, a peaceable kingdom, a lovely dwelling place of God. In the worst of circumstances, we can still envision and even imagine that we are in that promised land. It could be a kind of magical thinking. It could lead to dangerous dissociation from reality, or a cold-hearted denial of the suffering that is going on around us. But when the vision is coming from the Spirit within us, when it is the realm of God on earth that we long for and imagine ourselves living in, then this can work a positive magic. We can escape into the realm of God in our minds and be in this world even more realistically. Because what does the realm of God do? It turns us outside ourselves. God commands us to love our neighbor as ourself and sacrifice to serve the needs of those who are vulnerable, hungry, or hurting. So to live as if we are in the realm of God is to imagine a house and an earth like that little girl. But it is also to look at the drunken, irresponsible mother whose life is a tragic mess, with forgiveness, with a yearning, compassionate love. It makes all the difference what vision we follow. I have hope for that little girl in the bar because she could have been drawing monsters, taking revenge on an evil world, or a little girl running away from home. But what she envisioned was full of light and beauty and peace and love. The picture that Jesus drew was of living the Beatitudes. People humble and lowly, open to the world's pain, constantly seeking the Spirit's ways of justice and mercy, with their hearts focused on God, and peacemakers, being peacemakers. The prophet Isaiah put this whole vision poetically, and it's traditionally called the peaceable kingdom. The wolf shall live with the lamb, the leopard shall lie down with the kid, a little child shall lead them. They will not hurt or destroy on all my holy mountain. People have been longing for that promised land and living as if already in it for thousands of years. The question is not, why haven't we reached it? But where would we be without it, without this vision? It has led to leaps forward in human consciousness and social justice in the past. And if anything can save us now, it is this. We need to picture it, though. We need to picture it as clearly as the little girl did. What would the ideal world look like that the Spirit created us to desire, that is our longing? What would an ideal nation look like? What would our town be like if citizens fulfilled the highest ideals of love of neighbor? What do we dream our church will do and be? Picture it. We are pilgrims on a journey. We need a vision of where we are going. The 84th Psalm puts that longing so beautifully. How lovely is your dwelling place, O God, my hope and strength. Even the sparrow finds a home, and the swallow a nest for herself, where she may lay her young at your altars. Happy are those who live in your house, ever singing your praise. For that poet, the image of birds at peace in their nests was the equivalent of that safe bird box that the little girl drew in the bar. We need to picture our dream and dwell in it as if already there, because happy are those who live in the house of God, ever singing God's praise. So let's go there now in our hearts, that ideal place where we long to be. It's in there, in each one of us. Picture it. And then wordlessly sing to God your heart's praise from that place. Let us pray together in silence. Amen. The church council met this week and decided that we would be primarily on Zoom today, and that we would not be singing. There would be no singing in the sanctuary. So Russ, I'm really sorry to say it, but we're not allowed to sing. But on Zoom, you can sing. You can sing to your heart's content. And Justin will share the words to the hymn. And Russ, we have it in our hymn folder. How lovely is your dwelling, and Carol will play an introduction to it, and then, as I said, on Zoom you can sing, and we will follow along, follow the words. Thank you, and welcome, Carol Rousseau. Welcome back. Thank you. And welcome to the United Church of Strafford, Vermont on this 10th Sunday after Pentecost. And welcome to you who are in the sanctuary, and welcome also to those of you who are on Zoom. And Justin, you can turn the TV back on, and we will say hello. And at any point, if the echo comes back or there are any problems with the service, please let us know, or if you can't hear. Please see the announcements in the bulletin. And if you are on Zoom, you can find the bulletin on our website. If you see the menu across the top of the welcome page, you'll find a bulletin tab. We're taking our offering in two ways. There is a basket at the back of the sanctuary, or you may make online donations on our website just below the slideshow on the welcome page. Today is the first Sunday of the month when we take a special collection for our Deacons Fund that supports people in need in the community. So please indicate on your donation here or online that it is for the Deacons Fund. And undesignated gifts go into our regular collection for the general fund, without which there could be no Deacons Fund. So thank you either way. Please note that I have postponed my vacation indefinitely, so I will be leading worship and available for pastoral conversation and care for the foreseeable future. I know it is a disappointment not to hear Deidre and Rachel preach. But next Sunday, Deidre and I are talking about leading worship together. And I will invite Rachel to a future service too.